What's going on, guys? It's just Smash 22 here, and today I'm going to review each and every Game Boy Advance game that I got. I'm going to start with Namco Museum. This is a collection of arcade games, basically. It's got Miss Pac-Man, it's got Dig Dug, Galaga, Galaxian, I think it's pronounced, and some other racing game. They're all really fun games. Classic arcade. They play just like the original arcade versions. And each of the games has like a scoreboard and great gameplay. Very addicting. So I'm going to make this one short and just give this one a 9 out of 10. It's an excellent collection. Okay, this is Lilo and Stitch 2 for the Game Boy Advance. It's just a generic sort of side-scroller. It's nothing really special. It's based off of like it's got an original story from the show. It's got like bad platforming, bad design in that. The graphics are good. I'll give it that. But some of the gameplay elements require you to use these other characters, which are called experiments, and they're like sometimes really unresponsive. Sometimes the controls just aren't perfect, is what I mean. So it's just a mediocre game, so I'll give it a 6 out of 10. This is Pokemon Fire Red version. This is a remake of Pokemon Red that was on the original Game Boy, and this has many new features. The battle system has been updated for Generation 3 Pokemon standards instead of Generation 1, and there's more Pokemon that can be transferred from, like, say, Ruby and Sapphire. And besides the normal story, it's a very faithful remake. It follows from the beginning to end the story very well, and it's very nostalgic, I guess you could say. But it also adds this other part of the game. I don't know how you pronounce this, but there are islands in the game. There are extra areas. I think they're called Sevi Islands, Sevi, I don't know. But they're extra, and they make the game even longer in the story. It's a very long and very rewarding game, and I think just about anybody would enjoy this if they like turn-based RPGs. So this is an amazing game, one of the best from the Pokemon series, so I'll give it a 10 out of 10. Okay, Mario Kart Super Circuit. This probably has to be, if not my favorite GBA game, one of my favorites. And probably it's got to be my favorite handheld Mario Kart. Better than Mario Kart DS, because even though the design of, like, just the graphics are very colorful, and even though the landscape is flat in all of the levels, you kind of expect that from a GBA game that attempts to be 3D. But the gameplay is amazing, and the content here is basically an upgrade of what Mario Kart 64 had. It has all the same playable characters from Mario Kart 64, but the graphics are extremely colorful, nicely done. But there are 40 tracks in this game, more than any other Mario Kart game to date. And the reason for that is it's got its own set of original tracks. The first half are original, and the second half of the tracks in this game are from the first Mario Kart, Super Mario Kart. So it's basically the entire Super Mario Kart game in your pocket, pretty much. So this has so much content, tons of tracks, and beautiful graphics. This is a 10 out of 10. Superman Returns, Fortress of Solitude. This is a puzzle game, and that's not what I really expected. Like I said, I have yet to play a good Superman game, and the funny thing is this is one of the closest that has been to a Superman game. And it's not even a normal game like that. It's a puzzle game. The puzzles are basically like Sudoku, pretty much. That's pretty much all the game is, other than a few other exceptions that pretty much play like little mini games, but the graphics are kind of dull, and this is probably the second best Superman game, but it's not really that good in the first place. And the Sudoku in this is just not very memorable. I'd rather play it on a piece of paper, pretty much. And there's a time limit for them. I guess there are a few positives about it, but I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Okay, this is Tom and Jerry The Magic Ring. This is the only Tom and Jerry game I think I've ever played. I don't know if there are any others anyways. But it's based off of like a straight-to-video Tom and Jerry show, and its gameplay kind of plays like a beat-em-up. You go around finding original bosses from the show, and it kind of follows that straight-to-DVD show very well. The gameplay's just very linear, and at times actually the graphics are pretty good, but the overall gameplay is very linear, very uninspired. The enemies can be really repetitive at times, and the gameplay can get repetitive in a negative way, as in you do the same thing over and over and it's really not too much fun. So this game's just mediocre at best, and I'd have to give it a 5 out of 10. This is the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, the game. It's, of course, based off of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, and it's actually a pretty good platformer, if you ask me. The graphics aren't perfect, and in order to like continue with the game, and this is kind of weird considering this is a GBA game, you have to use codes to continue where you left off. So, and the codes are actually characters instead of like numbers. Because it uses the characters, it's very difficult to remember these codes. Even if you have them written down, you have to write down these very detailed characters that aren't very much different from the others. So that's a big issue unless you can remember that. Otherwise, besides that, the platforming has very uniqueness to it. And yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. I'd have to give this one a 7 out of 10. The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap. This is the best handheld Zelda that I've ever played. Very original story and one of the earliest in the Zelda timeline. The gameplay is very nice. It's what you'd exactly expect. Plenty of original dungeons and gadgets / tools. The story's pretty good. There's only like probably 6 dungeons in the game, but it's actually quite long for a handheld game, even though it's a Zelda. Very fun and tons of content on this thing. So it's a 10 out of 10 for me. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, based off of the remake of the Willy Wonka movie or whatever. It's not that good of a platformer, I don't think. There are a few things that make it slightly innovative in a few ways, but it's just pretty much generic. And the controls are very slippery when you're trying to move around at times. It's a side-scroller, and the controls kind of make it difficult to play in the first place. There is a little bit of content that fans of the movie would like. That's one positive. So there is a little bit good out of this. The graphics are okay. What I mean is they look just like the movie. There's even a few cinematic cutscenes that they take from the movie look just like it. So that's another positive. Overall, this is just a very dull platforming side-scroller. I'd have to give it a 6.5. Okay, this is the last game one I have. This is The Simpsons Road Rage, and don't let this one fool you. If you like the Road Rage on the consoles, this one sucks. It has like the flat landscape that Mario Kart Super Circuit has, but the gameplay in this is very dull and boring, and it's not nearly as good as the console versions of The Simpsons Road Rage, where the humor is gone in this version, and the gameplay is a bit annoying. There's this map system that doesn't work out well. The city in the game, Springfield, feels dull. It's just not very fun, and I'd probably have to give it a 2 out of 10. Very dull game. Now, these two other ones, they're not really games. They play episodes of TV shows. This is a Cartoon Network collection of several episodes from the shows on there. I'm guessing these were around like maybe 2004 or something. This one has episodes of Ed, Edd n Eddy and Courage the Cowardly Dog, some others. I'd say it's worth a buy, I guess, because it's got 4 episodes, and I think this one, with the Nickelodeon one here, only has 3. I guess if you ever get a hold of something like this, it'd be worth it. I'm not going to give a score to these ones. This one, I think, has like an episode from All Grown Up. It's got a SpongeBob episode, and I forgot the third one. They're okay. Nothing special. They kind of remind me of the PSP movies you could get, but the PSP movies were better quality watching them on the PSP screen, and they looked much better. The shows on those are pretty pixelated, and the sound's kind of dull. It's kind of quiet as well. So I guess they're okay. So that's all my reviews for my GBA cartridges. Comment, subscribe, tell me what you think, guys. Like this video, and see ya.